The D in solid stands for Dependency Inversion principle, which says that entities must depend on abstractions, not on concretions. Let's have a look at a simple example. Our application might make use of the MySQL database and its designated MySQL connector class, which makes it possible for our application to interact with the database. To make it work, we inject instance of the MySQL connector class to our application's constructor. A few months down the line, we are asked to change the database that application runs on to PostgreSQL. And the first problem we will face here is that our application has strictly specified that it works with MySQL connector. So to make it work, we would not only have to create a new connector class for PostgreSQL, but also change the application constructor argument to ensure that we can now work with PostgreSQL instead of MySQL. We know that this might also change over time, and the requirement for another database type might emerge. To resolve this problem, we can use an interface or an abstract class, which would then be type hinted as an argument for the constructor and allow us to swap implementation of the connector at runtime, depending on which one we'd like to use. Let's have a look at a more real-life example in the editor. So what I have here is a simple order and discount class. Order class has two properties, items and discount. Then we have a method that allows us to add item to the order. Then we have one which allows us to remove the item from the order, to retrieve all of the items, to add the discount by associating the instance of the discount class with our discount property. Then we have item, which gives us returns basically the item from the order. Then we have items by ID. We pass in the array of IDs that we want to actually retrieve, items we want to retrieve from the order itself. Then we have a subtotal method which calculates subtotal. Then we have a discount method which calculates the discount. And then we have a total basically which subtracts discount from the subtotal, and that gives us the total for the order. Our discount class simply takes the percentage as an argument to the constructor and then calculates the discount based on a subtotal multiplied by the percentage and divided by 100. So it's basically a percentage-based discount based on a subtotal. So if we go back and have a look at the order test, here we have adds item to the order. So we create an instance of the new order, we add an item, we make sure we are certain that there's going to be just one item. When we call order all, and then we add another one, and we are certain there are two items, and then we assert that the subtotal should be 215. Looking at what we have here, we have one item, the quantity is the last argument. If we go back to the order, have a look at the add methods, you can see quantity is the fourth argument, price is the third. So if we go back to the test, so 1 time 20 and then 3 times 45, that should give us 215. Then obtains item by ID, which basically we add in two items again. Assert equals when we're looking for the item with the ID 2, which is this second item, flip-flops here. That's what we should get, including the total for this item. And then we are asserting the subtotal based on this single item is going to be 135, which is 3 times 45. That's what we should get. Okay, then we have removes item from the order. Again, we instantiate in the order class, adding two items, and then asserting that the count is equal to 2. We are certain that the total is going to be 215. We're removing item, the first item with the ID 1, which is going to be this trainers, then asserting the count is 1, and we are certain that the total now is going to be 135, because obviously we only have these flip-flops left within the order. 3 times 45, that's the total. Now discount test checks whether the total without the discount is correct. So we add in trainers, we assert that there is no discount because we didn't add any discount, and that the total is going to be 80 because there's only one item with the price of 80. Then we have add discounts and returns correct total. So we instantiating the discount, we instantiating the order, adding one item, adding the discount of this 20%. So we are certain that the discount should be 16, 20% of the 80 is 16, so that's what we should get. And then asserting that the total this time with this discount should be 64. So if we run this test quickly, and you'll see that everything passes. We have 5 tests, 13 assertions. Okay, so let's have a look at our order class and let's identify the problems with it. Now, the first thing, if we scroll down to add discounts, as you can see, we are type hinting this argument here with the discount, and we only have one type of a discount, percentage based, but perhaps with the time you would like to have a discount that's only applied to the order if the order is above certain amount. So because at the moment, obviously, this specific class applies discount regardless of how much client is spending for the given order. Another example could be perhaps amount rather than percentage. You would like to apply discount, let's say £10 if you spend, say, 150 or something like this. That there are many different variations of the discounts that could be applied. But at the moment, the way the class is written at the moment, we can only add the percentage-based discount, and it applies to the entire order regardless of how much the order is for. And obviously, if we have a look at our add discount method, you can see that we are in this rather weird situation here because we only can pass the instance of this specific discount class. So what we could do here, and what we rather should do here, is to create an interface which all discount type classes would implement, and then type hint it here as this interface. This way we can pass any type of the discount class that implements this interface. So let's quickly start with the new class. Actually, before we do anything, let's rename this discount class to global percentage discount. Global percent or global percent discount. I think that's going to sound a little bit better. And let's now rename this file as well. And there we go. So now we have global percent discount. Let's create a discount interface inside of our discount directory as well. So discount it's within the same namespace, and it's going to be an interface. So if we click on OK, and there we go. If you don't use PHP Storm or any other IDE that has these macros in, make sure they start with the PHP tag namespace and then interface discount. And within this interface, we're going to create public function calculate, and it will take instance of the order class, and it will return float. Now let's add some doc block here, and for the summary, we're going to say calculate discount. Now we can save and close this interface. Back to our global percent discount class. Let's just make sure that we implement this discount. And as you can see, we don't have to add any additional methods because we already have this calculate method with the order argument, which returns float. So our global percent discount class is also completed. We can go back to order. We don't have to change anything here because we just renamed the previous discount class to global percent discount, and now our discount is actually an interface. So now we can actually pass any class that implements this discount. Let's just quickly run the test, make sure that everything works fine. And we get some error here. As you can see, adds discount and returns correct total. This is because we are now trying to instantiate the interface. If I just close it, open our test, discount test, going back here, what we want to do first of all is going to be, we want to rename this method. So because now we're going to call this method adds percent, global percent discount and returns correct total. We obviously don't instantiate interfaces, so global percent discount rather than just discount. I'm going to import this class right here at the top, and let's just rearrange this slightly. There we go. So now it should all work just fine. As you can see, now we are passing the instance of this global percent discount to this add discount, but because it implements this discount interface, we can pass it to this discount. We can pass any other class basically which implements this discount as well. So if we test it again, now let's run the test, and there we go, all tests are passing the same way as before. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is to add another discount type, and then I'm going to show you another thing which I'm not quite happy with within this order class. We are going to start with adding the new test to our discount test class. We start with public function adds item percent discount and returns correct total. And let's make sure that it's a test by adding the test tag. If I scroll up here, let's create a few new lines. And what I'm going to start with is going to be a new order instance. So new order. And then we're going to have order add. And for this one, it's going to be ID1. Name is going to be trainers, for instance. Then we're going to have price 80 and quantity 1. And then I'm going to add another item. I just duplicate all this. ID of the item is going to be 2. Flip flops, for instance, and they will cost 45 each. And we want 3 of these. Okay, then we are going to add a discount. So order add discount. By this time we're going to add the new class which we don't have yet. It's going to be called new in item percent discount. Basically this type of discount will be applied again based on the percentage, but only to a single item. So if that item is not in the basket in our order, then the percentage will not be applied, and if it is, it will only apply to the amount basically the subtotal of this specific item, and it's going to be 1 and then 10%. So item ID is going to be 1 and 10% based on that item subtotal. Then we're gonna go for this assert equals, and we assert that it should be 8 order discount because it's 10% of the item with the ID 1, which is this first one. It's 80, so 10% is going to be 8. So that's the first assertion. Then we're going to have this assert equals, and here we are going to have it 207 when we run order total. And now how do we calculate this? Our item is 80 minus 8 and then plus 135. If you look at here, 45 times 3, that gives us 207. So that's what we should get for this assertion. And then we are going to override this discount. So order again, and then we're going to add discount. We override the previous one, new item percent discount, and this time we're going to apply it to item number 2, again 10%, and we go for this assert equals, now contains equals, and we're going to assert that it's going to be 13.5 or the discount. And how did we calculate this? We know that 3 times 45 is 135. 10% of it is going to be 13.5. And then another assertion, this assert equals, this time 201.5 when we run order total. And how this has been calculated, again, 135 minus 13.5 plus 80 gives us 21.5. Obviously, if I run the test now, you'll see that it fails because we obviously don't have this item percent discount. So let's now close this and create this class under our discount directory. So new class, and it's going to be called item percent discount. And the first thing we're going to do here is make sure that we implement the discount interface. And obviously here, as you can see, it's automatically highlighted because we need to have this calculate method. That's the requirement of this interface. So calculate method will be here, but before we do anything else, let's just provide 2 properties. Private, first one will be ID of the item, and the second one will be private percent. And now let's add dog blocks here. This one is going to be integer, and percent is going to be float. And after this, we're going to have a constructor. So new constructor, and constructor will take both of these items. I can type hint here because I'm using PHP 7. So integer for the first item and float for the second one. And then we simply associate them with our properties. Okay, so now from within the calculator, how are we going to calculate this percentage based on the item? First of all, what we need to do is to find the item in the order. So item variable is going to be the order, and we try to find the item, and we pass the ID of this item. So this ID. Now we check if exclamation mark item. In other words, if it hasn't been found, if it's null, if it's empty, then return 0. Otherwise, return item. We're going to take total for this item, multiply it by this percent, and then divide it by 100, which is going to give us the discount for the total for that given item. And that's everything within this item percent discount method. If we go back, if we can save it and close it, we go back to our discount test. Obviously, we need to import this class here, so we obviously make sure that we're using the correct class. If I scroll up, as you can see now, this item percent discount is here before the class definition. Use up discount item percent discount. And if we now run this test, PHP unit, there we go, and we have 6 tests now, 17 assertions, all of which are passing. As you can see, now we can pass either global percentage discount or item percent discount to this add discount. It will work regardless of what class it is, as long as it implements the same interface, which we type hinted here within this add discount class. The argument of this add discount class is type hinted as this interface. Okay, so that's another one. I'm going to create another one, this time based on the amount. It's going to be public function add sub total amount discount and returns correct total. In other words, it adds discount based on the subtotal. And it's a test. And here we are going to start with order again. So order equals new order. And then we have order add. We're going to add the same item 1 trainers. Then we have 80. And it's only one item. And again, duplicate this one. Actually, let's just leave it for now like this with one item. We're going to go for order, add discount, and we're going to add new sub total amount discount. We will have 110. So if basically this class constructor will take the amount that we want to apply the discount to, this amount or above. If it's 99, we won't be applying the discount, and the discount amount is 10. Let's say if we're talking in pounds, that would be 100 pounds you need to spend in order to get 10 pounds discount. So this assert equals 0 or the discount, because obviously we only have one item worth of 80 pounds. It's less than 100 pounds, so we don't apply any discount. So discount should return 0. Then we are going to do another assertion. This assert equals, this time 80. When we go for order total, that's what we should have without any discount because it's less than 100 pounds. And then we go for order add. This time we're going to add another item, this flip flops, and it's going to be 45 each, and we'll have 3 of them. Obviously now the total, the subtotal is going to be more than 100 because we have 2 items, both of which are over 200 pounds. So this time we should have this assert equals 10 when we get order discount. So that's what we should get, 10 pounds. And this assert equals, it should be 205 when we run order total, because if we just go here, 80 plus 135 and then minus 10 pounds, that's what it gives us 205. Obviously again, if I run this test now, It will fail because obviously we don't have this subtotal amount discount class yet. So I'm just going to close this. Let's quickly create this new class, subtotal amount. There we go. And the first thing again, which we are going to do is to make sure that we implement discount. And after this, let's just add this method stub. There we go. So we have this calculate method, which we'll deal with in just a moment. First, two properties, private subtotal, and then another private one, amount. So let's add some doc blocks. Float is this for the subtotal, and the amount also float. Now let's add the constructor here, which will associate these arguments with the properties. And again, I can type hint it here with the float because I'm using PHP 7. If you're using version of PHP slower than 7, then you won't be able to use float for the type hint integer either, and so on. Okay, so that's our constructor. Now from within the calculate method, we are going to check if order subtotal is less than what we expect in the subtotal to be, then we return 0, because then we don't want to apply any discount. Otherwise, we are going to return the amount by which we want to discount the order. So amount, there we go, return amount. And our subtotal amount discount class is now also completed. So we can save it and close it. And now our test should run. Let's just import this subtotal amount discount to this test. If I scroll up here, you can see we've got this class here at the top. Okay, now if we run this test, let's just save it. PHP unit, and there we go. We have 7 tests, 21 assertions, all of which are passing. So as you can see, we can create as many different types of a discount as we want now, and we can inject them to this add discount method because we are expecting anything that implements this discount interface to be passed through as an argument. Now, one other thing that I'm not quite sure about this class is here within this discount method. We're checking if we actually have discount class associated, then we return 0, and then we return calculate, basically result of this calculate method if discount is not null. I would probably prefer to avoid this conditional statement. And how can we actually do it? Now that we can actually inject any instance of the class that implements discount interface, we could probably do the same with the constructor. So let's create a constructor to which we are going to inject an instance of the discount as well. So discount, and now we are going to associate it with the discount property. So this discount equals discount. And let's add some doc blocks here as well. There we go. It takes discount as an argument. Now you might be thinking, hold on a second, so we need to know how much and what sort of a discount we want to apply to the order before we have any items in this order? Well, not quite. Because we can actually inject any type of the discount to our constructor, that means that we can make use of the null object pattern and create a null discount class, which will basically return 0 of the discount for if we don't apply any other discount. So let's quickly create this new class under the discount directory. We're going to call it null discount. And from within this, again, it needs to implement obviously this discount interface, and it needs to have this calculate method. But from within this method, I will simply return 0. So whatever happens, we don't apply any discount. But this is still a valid discount class, but it just doesn't apply any discount. So now having this null discount class, we can inject it to the constructor. And then if we scroll down to this discount method, we can now remove this conditional statement completely, because now even if we don't apply any discount using this add discount method, we already have instance of a discount class associated with our discount property, and we can call this calculate method. If it's a null, if we didn't apply any other, then it simply will return 0 and our order will not be discounted. Otherwise, if we've used this add discount method passing any other discount type, this is where this calculation will return different value, obviously based on whether it's percentage, amount, based on subtotal, and so on. Okay, so now let's go back to our test, our discount test. Now, obviously, all these instantiations of the order class require us to obviously pass through an instance of some sort of discount. And obviously, we are going to pass new null discount to this one. And let's just import it. And we obviously need to make sure that we pass it through all of these instantiations of the order class. Null discount, just going to copy this, and then we have another one here. Let's add the brackets, same for the next one, and that's the last one here. Let's just remove this redundant space. There we go, that's our discount test completed. Now order test as well needs the same thing. Let's just import this null discount. Let's scroll down this one and this one as well. So whenever we instantiate in the order class, we need to make sure that we pass this null discount to it as an argument for the constructor. Okay, if we run all the tests now, PHP unit, there we go, and all tests are still passing. Everything's working exactly the same way it did before, but now our class is far more flexible. The code looks a little bit better. We don't have to have this conditional statement, and obviously we can pass any type of a discount. If with the time you come up with an idea for another discount time based on something different, you just add the class, make sure it implements this discount interface, and you can pass it through as an argument to our add discount method. So in this video, we've seen how we can refactor our code in order to comply with the dependency inversion principle.